The crux of the matter was about intimidation or influence, misinformation due to the postponement of the election in Elders constituency, whose elections was held on 10th rather than 9th of August. In my view, the postponement of the election in Elders was determined, was considered by the Supreme Court, and from the evidence on record, I don't find any of the allegations of misinformation and intimidation as having been proved, because these ones were actually criminal allegations. They had to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. Violence in some parts of Wajir East constituency. This one was also a complaint by the petitioner. He said that there was violence in this part, Koror Harar ward, and that in his view, his position is that the election here should have been postponed. In fact, this one was more there was more justification to postpone these elections in this area than in Elders constituency. Having considered all the evidence on record, I find that there was no justification for Are you talking? Is anybody who is concerned?
It's the online system, I think so.
Oh, okay. So there was no justification for the that was proved for postponement of elections in this area. Disproportionately high turnout of in Wajir West constituency, in my view, having considered all the evidence on record, I do not find that the petitioner proved the allegation of disproportionate high turnout. Obviously, the client dynamics play a role, but there was no proof that there were disproportionate high turnout in any of those constituencies. I have in the judgment some tables that show the voter turnout in some of these places which have been complained about, and they are there. You can parties will or their council will read. So those are those are the cause findings on these allegations that were made by the petitioner, and I have gone to them one by one deliberately, so that whoever will read will know what I've found out in each and every of those items. So that disposes of number one of the proof of the illegalities and irregularities. Now I go to the second whatever issue, whether the Wajir gubernatorial elections were conducted substantially in accordance with the Constitution and the electoral laws. In determining this issue, the court is duty bound to rely on the considerations and determinations made on illegalities and irregularities in the elections in question. This court has listed all the complaints or allegations of the petitioner and made a determination on each one of them. This court has found that two of the petitioner's complaints were approved. The first is that the third respondent did not comply with the legal requirements of filling Form 32A with regard to voters who voted through supervisor validation method. The second is that the third respondent did not comply with the requirement to countersign alterations made in Form 37A. I have to be guided by the provisions of Section 83 of the Elections Act, which states as follows: no election shall be declared to be void by reason of non-compliance with any written law relating to that election if it appears that the election was conducted in accordance with the principles laid down in the Constitution and in that written law, or that the non-compliance did not affect the results of the election, the election on the election. I also rely on the case of Gatirau Peter Munya and Dixon Mwenda Kithinji. I find no non-compliance with the Constitution, but there was certainly non-compliance with legal provisions, as I have already stated above. I note that other than the two proved illegalities and irregularities above, there is no evidence on record to show or even suggest that any particular voter who was not registered voted in the election. No evidence that the people who voted at any polling station were more than the recorded voter turnout. No evidence also that that voters in any polling station exceeded the number of registered voters. There is also no evidence that any of the two illegalities and irregularities committed by the third respondent, as established by evidence, conferred an advantage or a disadvantage of any of the candidates. In those circumstances, I find that the elections herein were conducted substantially in accordance with the Constitution and election laws, the above two illegalities and irregularities notwithstanding. What order should this court issue? Having found as above that the herein election was held substantially in accordance with the Constitution and the law, I hold that the first respondent and the second respondent were validly elected as governor and deputy governor of Wajir County. It follows that the only issue that remains is to do with costs. Courts have held that costs follow the event. I will thus award the costs of the respondents to be paid to the respondents to be paid by the petitioner, but will cap the costs to 4 million shillings, of which 2 million will be to the first and second respondents and 2 million to the third and fourth respondents. Before I conclude, I wish to express my appreciation to the parties who conducted themselves with sobriety throughout the proceedings. I also thank all counsel for the high degree of
Bismillah. Muko tayari? Thank you. And we're extremely happy that the verdict of the court is delivered, and it has upheld our election. Myself and my brother Ahmed Mohammed has been legally and constitutionally elected as governor and deputy governor of Wajir County. Mine is to foremost thank Almighty God for this win, and two, to call upon our worthy competitor who petitioned to now allow us to move on. We all move on together as a county. Wajir has more problems today than the average county in Kenya. As a result of the devastating drought, we probably are one of the worst, we probably are the worst affected county. We're trying to save lives and the livelihoods of the residents of the county. We're dealing with a lot of challenges. We have no time to waste as a people. We want to recover as soon as is humanly possible. So we want us to all forge ahead so that we can get the election behind us and do what it is that we need to do. Kwa sababu leo pia ni siku ya sala, sitaki kuwachelewesha watu, lakini baada ya sala ndio tutaongea mengi. But we want to thank the court. We want to thank our worthy competitors. They have now had their day in court. The court has reached a verdict. We want to now be given time to concentrate on what is key, which is saving the lives of our people and taking the county forward. Barikiwa.
We, Governor Ahmed Abdullahi, our governor of Wajir County, and that we are happy with the verdict. Our win has been vindicated again by the courts. It is within the rights and prerogative of the petitioner to seek justice, which he did, and a judgment was reached today in our favor and in the favor of Wajir County and the people of Wajir County. As said by the governor, it's now time to move on. We are facing one of the worst droughts in the history of Wajir County and probably Kenya. People are staring at death. We have done our bit as a county, but held back by the litigations for the last 6 months. Generally, elections are emotive in nature, and reactions after elections are not necessarily based on facts and law. They could be more or less be carried away by emotions. But 6 months down the line, we expect people to sober up. And from history, and for the handful of elections I have participated, I can say without any fear of doubt that the last election of 2022 was one of the best in terms of its successes, in terms of verifiability and transparency, particularly that of the gubernatorial election. We have been through these trenches before in 2017, and I can say without any iota of doubt that this one was without any reproach. To that extent, we thank the people of Wajir County for being with us through this thick and thin rain or sunshine, and appreciate your patience. But that said, we hand out an olive branch to our worthy competitor and brother, Dr. Hassan, and it is time now for us to move on, to come together and devise strategies to iron out, mitigate the ravaging drought that we are facing now. To that extent, I thank the people of Wajir and all those who have participated in this course. Thank you very much.